Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to sort through a stack of sources and pull out the key insights just for you.
Hello.
And today, we're tackling something I think everyone grapples with. Why is it so hard to do the right thing, even when we know, exactly what it is?
Yeah, that gap, isn't it, between knowing and actually doing? And our sources today really get into that space.
What we're working with.
We're looking at some powerful stuff, excerpts from Luke 12, the letter to the Romans, chapter 7, also Psalm 119, and a related spiritual reflection focused on urgency.
Okay, so our mission here is, it's more than just saying, I procrastinate, right? We want to extract real insights. Why the urgency? What's the internal roadblock? And maybe find a roadmap through it all.
Exactly. It's not just theology, though the sources are ancient wisdom texts. It's almost like behavioral psychology rooted in them. The main thread, really, through all of this material is how crucial it is to read the moment. The spiritual, the moral climate right now.
Not just the weather forecast.
Precisely. We need to see beyond, the obvious deadlines and recognize the immediate risk, the moral risk of putting things off.
Okay, let's unpack that. Starting with Luke 12. Jesus gives this really sharp challenge to the crowds, doesn't he? About how they read signs.
Oh, it's brilliant rhetoric. Because he starts by acknowledging their skill where they feel confident predicting external stuff.
Yeah, he says, basically, you see a cloud in the west, you say, it's going to rain, and bam, it rains.
Right. Or the wind blows from the south, it'll be hot. And you're right, you're experts at reading the sky, the earth.
And then comes the punchline.
The devastating question, yeah. Why, if you're so good at interpreting the earth and sky, why can't you interpret the present time?
That really hits home. If the skill is observation, deduction, why is predicting rain easy, but seeing the need for, let's say, spiritual course correction so hard?
Well, the sources seem to suggest it's about comfort and consequences. Predicting rain, that's just processing external data, no big deal. But interpreting the present time, reading the moment, that requires looking inward. It demands vulnerability, maybe immediate action. And that's uncomfortable.
So we're quick to judge external things, the news, someone else's mistake, maybe even our schedule.
Right. But the need for our own internal reconciliation, oh, that can wait. We file it under later.
And Luke shows the danger in that later. The consequences aren't small, are they? He follows up immediately with that parable, the opponent, the magistrate.
Yeah, and the emphasis is stark. Settle it now, while you're still on the way.
Like, don't even let it get to the courthouse steps.
Exactly. Think of it like a debt that's rapidly accumulating interest and penalties. If you refuse to settle with the person you've wronged or who you're in conflict with, well, they hand you over to the judge.
That's the first step up.
Right. Then the judge hands you to the constable, the officer, and suddenly, boom, you're in prison.
And the final line there is chilling.
You will not be released until you have paid the last penny. It underlines the absolute cost of delay. It's not just inconvenient, it's potentially catastrophic.
So failure to read the spiritual signs isn't just an intellectual slip-up. It leads to real, severe consequences.
The wisdom there is clear. Real freedom, true peace, comes from dealing with things justly right away. Delay doesn't make problems vanish. It just makes them worse, harder to fix.
It compounds the interest, spiritually speaking.
Yes, and it can lead to a kind of spiritual blindness. You wait too long, you become unable to even see the judge, the consequences looming right there.
Okay, that sets up a huge challenge. If the urgency is that clear, settle now, or face the consequences, why is it still so incredibly hard for us? For pretty much everyone.
Ah, yes.
And this is where it gets really fascinating, I think. We have to turn to Romans 7. That passage describing this profound, almost heartbreaking internal struggle.
It really is one of the most insightful descriptions of the human condition you'll find anywhere. It nails that universal feeling of knowing what's good, wanting to do it, but falling short constantly.
The writer, Paul, he gets incredibly honest, doesn't he? That moment of self-awareness. I know that good does not dwell in me, that is, in my flesh.
Wow. Yeah, that's a stark admission. Realizing that, our default setting isn't pure, consistent goodness.
And the core struggle he lays out?
Yeah.
It's just so relatable.
Yeah.
The willing is ready at hand, but doing the good is not. For I do not do the good I want, but I do the evil I do not want.
That resonates so deeply, doesn't it? It's like modern talk about self-sabotage or when your executive function just fails.
Totally. You set the goal, I'll eat better, I'll be more patient, I'll apologize, I'll stop scrolling. The intention is crystal clear.
But the action, either it doesn't happen or you do the opposite.
It's a complete disconnect. Mind wants one thing, body or habits do another.
And Paul digs into why. He doesn't just state the problem. Principle or force operating inside.
Okay, hang on. When Romans 7 says, when one wants to do right, evil is at hand. Isn't that just letting us off the hook? Like, oh, it wasn't my fault. Some principle made me do it.
That's a really important question. And no, it's not meant as an excuse. It's more like a diagnosis.
How so?
He's not saying, the devil made me do it in a simplistic way. He's saying, I've identified a pattern. There's a deep-seated behavioral default, like an internal system working against my conscious, rational desires.
So it's not just calling it weakness. It's recognizing it's more systemic. Like an organized opposition inside me.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. He talks about seeing in my members another principle at war with the law of my mind, a force that actively captures the thinking person, takes them captive to the law of sin that dwells in my members.
Huh? Takes them captive.
Yeah. It reframes the whole thing. Moral failure often isn't just about not knowing enough or not wanting it enough. It's about this internal misalignment, intent versus action. And realizing that, understanding that mechanism, it actually frees you up a bit.
How? Because you stop just beating yourself up.
Right. You stop the endless cycle of, I know what's right, why am I so bad? And you start asking, okay, how do I get leverage over this internal force that keeps tripping me up?
That is a powerful shift. It changes the battle from just a lapse in willpower to, like you said, an internal civil war.
It is. And that war is exhausting, which leads to that famous cry of desperation.
Miserable one that I am. Who will deliver me from this mortal body?
Yeah. It's raw. It's the sound of someone hitting the limits of their own strength.
And it highlights the crucial point. The part of you that sees the problem can't fix the problem on its own.
Exactly. The self-awareness doesn't automatically grant self-control, which is why the very next line is the turning point.
Thanks be to God through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Right. The deliverance, the rescue from that internal captivity has to come from outside the system that's holding you captive. That cry of despair leads directly to seeking external help.
Okay, so let's recap. We have Luke telling us, be urgent, settle things now, avoid the delay.
Right. Read the signs of the times.
And then we have Romans saying, but it's incredibly hard because there's this internal war going on.
This powerful force pulling you off course.
So the solution can't just be grit your teeth and try harder. It has to involve getting some outside help, some instruction. Where do we find that roadmap? How do we know what the right path is, moment by moment, especially in this internal fight?
And that leads us perfectly to our third source, Psalm 119. The psalm is basically the answer to that need. It's all about seeking guidance, seeking instruction.
It's like a long prayer for clarity.
Exactly. It acknowledges we can't read the signs of the time or win that internal war without a reliable guide. We need external data, good data.
And the refrain that runs through it, that constant petition, Lord, teach me your statutes. That feels like the direct response to the struggle in Romans, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. It's this persistent, humble asking for the rules, for clarity, for the law.
A request for a trustworthy map in a confusing world.
Yes. And notice the attitude towards this instruction. It's not seen as this heavy burden or some restrictive contract. It's viewed as coming from a good place.
Right. The psalmist says things like, I trust in your commands, and you are good and bountiful. Teach me your statutes. There's confidence in the source.
That's key. The statutes aren't there to trip you up. They're seen as life-giving. He even says, never will I forget your precepts, for through them you give me life.
So if that internal principle in Romans brings captivity and ultimately death, the divine instruction, the statutes, bring life and freedom.
Precisely. It's like the instruction manual showing you how to override those harmful default settings that keep capturing you.
Okay, so this yearning for guidance in the psalm, how does it connect back to the practical steps? We started with urgency and reconciliation.
It ties back perfectly. If you understand the urgency, Luke, and you recognize the strength of the internal opposition, Romans, then the logical next step is to actively seek and pray for the tools to navigate that reality. Psalm 119.
And those tools, or maybe the application, are pretty concrete in the reflection pieces we looked at too.
Very specific. The prayer requests weren't vague. They were things like, give me the grace to seek reconciliation now, help me value time as a gift for growing in holiness, and crucially, may I never delay in doing what is right.
It all circles back to action.
Yes. The ultimate goal, moving Luke, Romans, and the Psalm together, is reconciliation. walking in peace with God, with others. And you interpret the present time correctly when you see every moment as that opportunity. An opportunity for justice, for growth,
Right.
not for letting that spiritual debt accrue more interest through delay.
Wow. Okay, that was quite a deep dive, pulling those threads together. So we've seen that reading the moment, interpreting the present time, needs this sharp spiritual awareness, almost like forecasting the weather. And urgency is key to avoid that last penalty Luke warns about.
Right. Then we face that tough reality in Romans 7, the internal paradox, where our best intentions get hijacked by these powerful, ingrained behavioral patterns.
That internal civil war.
Exactly. And finally, Psalm 119 offered the way through, not just trying harder, but constantly, humbly asking for reliable instruction. That petition, Lord, teach me your statutes.
So connecting it all, what's the big takeaway?
I think the biggest takeaway is that knowledge isn't enough. Understanding the urgency, understanding the internal struggle, knowing the right instruction, none of it matters without immediate application.
It has to translate into action now.
Yes. The call isn't ultimately for intellectual insight into the moral climate. It's for a settled heart. It's for living justly in this moment, right now.
Which leads perfectly to the final challenge from the source material, doesn't it? It sort of brings this whole exploration right down to earth right now. For you listening.
It does. It asks, essentially. Okay, you're an expert at reading the clouds, predicting heat. You now recognize that internal force that trips you up, so.
What steps can you take today, not tomorrow, not next week, today,
Yeah.
to reconcile? Maybe with God, maybe with someone you've wronged.
That is the immediate practical application of interpreting the present time.
Something to definitely think about as you go forward from here. How will you settle your accounts today?